what did Moses do to the golden calf? This is the question that we seek to answer today as we continue our verse-by-verse study of the book of Exodus on Walking Through the Bible.
Of his word, the glory of his cross.
If you have a Bible with you, you can turn to Exodus 32. We're going to be reading from verses 19 to 24. If you don't have a Bible, don't worry. Just follow along with us on the screen. The version that we'll be reading from is the New King James Version. So, Exodus 32, beginning at verse 19. So it was, as soon as he came near the camp, that he saw the calf and the dancing. So Moses' anger became hot, and he cast the tablets out of his hand and broke them at the foot of the mountain. Then he took the calf, which they had made, burned it in the fire, and ground it into powder. And he scattered it on the water and made the children of Israel drink it. And Moses said to Aaron, "What did this people do to you that you have brought so great a sin upon them?" So Aaron said, "Do not let the anger of my Lord become hot. You know the people, that they are set on evil. For they said to me, 'Make us gods that shall go before us.' As for this Moses, the man who brought us up out of the land of Egypt, we do not know what has become of him." And I said to them, "Whoever has any gold, let them break it off." So they gave it to me, and I cast it into the fire, and out this calf came. In this chapter, we had Israel making and worshiping the golden calf. From 2 episodes ago, we discussed that the reason given for making this idol is that Moses had been a long time on the mountain, and they did not know where he was. While the latter might have been true, such as no excuse for going off into sin. Following their wishes, Aaron crafted the people a calf of gold and created a feast day to worship this idol. Now Aaron had said that this feast day was to Jehovah, but God had already said in Exodus 20 that even he wasn't to be worshipped with images. God knew what was going on in the camp even while he was instructing Moses. He told Moses that he would destroy the people and make a great nation of Moses, but Moses pled on the people's behalf, and God relented. However, the people would not escape punishment. That would come later on in this chapter. In the last episode, we read of Moses coming down the mountain with Joshua. Joshua thought that the noise was the noise of war, while Moses told him that it was the sound of singing. Now, even though Moses had been told what was going on in the camp, Moses had yet to see it with his own 2 eyes. When he did, he became extremely angry. What did he see? He saw the golden calf and the people dancing. Since these 2 words are coupled together, we can know that what this dance was an idolatrous, lascivious dance in worship to this idol. Lasciviousness and idolatry often go hand in hand, for when we create our own gods, we create our own morality, which invariably involves looser standards for dress and decorum. That's why in many idol temples we find scantily clad men and women, fornication and prostitution, and all sorts of other evil going on. By the reaction of Moses, something similar was going on here, for Moses' anger caused him to throw down the tablets of stone from his hand. When they hit the mountain, they broke. Later, we're not going to find God chastening Moses for his anger, for Moses' anger was a righteous anger. Israel was sinning in some of the worst ways against God, who brought them out of Egyptian bondage, and who had protected them and fed them thus far. Moses didn't have to ask God what to do with the idol. He knew what to do with the idol. He destroyed it. The way he did this was that he burned the calf in fire. Now, since the calf was made of gold, it meant that he charred or crystallized the gold so that it could be smashed into a powder. Once in powder form, it was added to Israel's drinking water, and they were forced to drink it. In our study of Deuteronomy, we will learn a couple more details about this story that we don't read of here. But what Moses was doing was having Israel drink their sin. The water, which would invariably include bits of charcoal from the gold being burned, would not be enticing to drink at all, which is how we're supposed to view sin. Before we engage in sin, the action looks tempting. If it didn't, nobody would sin. But after we have sinned, problems set in, including guilt, making that sin much less appealing and wishing that we had not done so. That's the lesson Moses was teaching Israel here, in the hopes that they would realize that idolatry wasn't just sinful, but they shouldn't even find it tempting. Moses then confronted Aaron, the man he'd left in charge, about the situation. Aaron blamed his actions on the people, telling Moses that he knew how evil they were. Aaron then said because of this, he acceded to their wishes, asked for their gold, threw it into the fire, and lo and behold, this calf came out. Aaron's response to Moses reminds me of Adam's response to God in Genesis 3, when confronted by God for eating of the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Instead of accepting blame himself, Adam blamed the woman, and he blamed God. Aaron blamed the people for wanting the idol in the first place, and then he tried blaming God, claiming that the idol simply came out of the fire, a sign of divine acceptance. As leader, Aaron should have stood up to the people when they wanted to sin, and as one who not only heard God speak the Ten Commandments from Mount Sinai, but actually communed with God on Mount Sinai in chapter 24, Aaron should not have tried to impugn the name of God by seeking to justify the calf as a sign of divine providence. Aaron had failed in his leadership in this affair, so much so that Deuteronomy tells us that God wanted to destroy Aaron too, but Moses interceded for Aaron and the Lord relented. This should be a lesson to us. Whenever we are entrusted with leading the flock of God or in teaching the gospel, we must stand up for the truth, for we will be held responsible if we capitulate to the voices of those who desire to go off into sin. We'll continue with this story, the Lord willing, in the next episode. With that, our time is up for today, Lord willing. We hope you'll join us for tomorrow's discussion of Exodus chapter 32, verses 25 to 29, as we continue our walk through the Bible, one verse at a time. Thank you for watching today's episode. We hope that you found it edifying and ask that you not only subscribe to our channel and podcast, but that you like and share this episode among your friends, so that the saving gospel of Jesus Christ can go out to the whole world.
Of his cross.